All right. We're going to let some people roll in here.
Rolling in.
Get cranked up in a minute.
Man, lots of people.
Yeah, this is going to be great. This will be a lot of fun.
Good stuff. I see Robert, Pierre, Kelly, Susan, Adam, Danielle.
Yeah. All right. Welcome, everybody. We're going to just give it a few more seconds here to let people roll in. While everyone is rolling in, we can go ahead and introduce ourselves real quick. First of all, welcome to our webinar. I'm Dustin Kane. With me is Chris Gramlich. Chris, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great. We are both account executives at Sellozo. We're also both Amazon sellers ourselves. We've been selling on Amazon, both of us, since around 2013 for a long time. So we're excited to have everybody on here, and we're going to run through this. Chris, you ready to get started? You think everybody's in?
Yeah, I think so. I think we got a few people still coming in.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
A few more to let in.
Yeah, a couple more rolling in now. Yeah, this should be super easy, super casual. We'll take questions at the end. So if you got questions that you'd like Dustin and I to answer, always feel free to ask those. We love helping. So this will be good just to kind of learn a little bit about some campaign structures that you can do for 2021.
Yep, absolutely. This is so we'll go ahead and dive in. Chris and I are going to go through this, but it is important that your campaign structure that you set up aligns with your budget, what category you're in, what goals you're having. I mean, it's really critical. It's tough to have a small budget and a campaign structure that does a lot of testing. So we're going to go over this so that we can align the campaign structures with your budget. And if you stick through this also, at the end, we have a discount code that we're going to offer for getting started with Sellozo. Sellozo, we'll touch on that as well, is going to help you automate a lot of these campaign structures that we're going to talk about. So make sure you stick through to that so you can see that discount code as well. All right, Chris, let's dive in. Let's get started here. All right. So today, the purpose of this webinar is we're going to talk about different campaign structures for whatever your situation is, whether you have a low ad budget, larger ad budget, whether you're in a product launch stage. We're also going to talk at the end a campaign structure that we recommend for absolutely everybody, and it makes an immediate impact. And Chris and I have never seen this campaign structure not work. So we're going to touch on that at the end as well. And then we'll touch on why Sellozo might be the right option for you when you're trying to automate this process. And then, of course, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. We're going to hit on those. All right, Chris, take it away.
Yeah, let's get right into it. So let's talk about some of these ad challenges or ad types that maybe you want to be focusing on. So, as you're launching products on Amazon, there's different subjects you want to be in, either like a low ad budget, if you have a large ad budget, or if you're like in a product launch phase. So these are some of the things we're going to touch on here. So the low ad budget, meaning maybe you don't have enough capital or you don't have enough marketing budgets dollars spent for your campaigns. So some of the challenges you'll get with that with the low ad budget is, first of all, you're limited on budget, right? Like you don't have much to spend. So you got to make sure whatever you do have to spend is focusing solely on like high converting ad types. Dustin, you and I have both been in this one where, you only got maybe $20 or $30 a week, or maybe even less than that you need to focus on for your ad budget. And we're going to go over some of that. And then some of the other challenges with the low ad budget is going to be a high ACoS. So your ACoS is going to be high because your budget is so limited that you're not allowing Amazon's campaigns or your campaigns to test a lot of different ad types or a lot of different keyword types. So that's low ad budget. And we're going to touch on some of the things that we recommend as far as when setting up campaigns, like how much ad budget should you have for a campaign when starting out, when to increase that ad budget, when to pause a campaign. Certain things like that are going to be something we're going to touch on. And then larger ad budget. What do you got here, Dustin?
Yeah, well, larger ad budgets. I mean, this is great if you have a larger ad budget, obviously, and so you're going to have plus potentially different goals of what you're trying to do. And what we talk about with these different ad budgets, like you said, is how targeted is your advertising? Are you targeting very specific things, try to rank on one keyword, or do you have a large ad budget where the larger it is, the more opportunity you have to do a lot of testing? So when you do testing, there can be a lot of data that comes in, and you're able to optimize off that better. You can show up and be relevant for a lot more keywords. So there's a lot of things that we're going to touch on here, but yeah, this gives you the opportunity to do a lot more testing. And then of course, with a product launch, there's lots of challenges. You're new, you have no organic ranking, you may have limited reviews or no reviews. So your conversion rate is going to be lower on those ads. So those are challenges, and we talk about how we can allocate our budget better for those.
Yeah, and on a product launch, especially with a new campaign, there's no history there. So you don't have any history with Amazon. So you're fairly new. Amazon sees you as a new seller or a new campaign, and they're not really sure where to put you at yet. So you're going to be thrown all over the place with your keywords. There's no data there yet. But as you start to keep that campaign active, and as you start to get conversions and you're getting clicks and your product is starting to rank a little bit better, that campaign is going to perform better because now Amazon has some data, and you'll start to see that ACoS go down, and hopefully your conversions go up too.
And let me touch on one more thing. Let me touch on one more thing, Chris, on that product launch is when you launch a brand new product, Amazon gives you sort of a honeymoon phase. This we talked about a lot, where they actually will rank your product higher than normal since it's a brand new product. They're kind of giving you the opportunity to see what happens. So it's really important that you immediately start attacking advertising when you launch a product, so you can take advantage of that honeymoon phase as well. So we'll touch on that a little bit more.
That's a good point. Low ad budget.
Let's talk about what should you do if you have a low ad budget? Well, the number one thing you're trying to do with products is advertising obviously generates sales, but it's also helping you rank organically for different keywords that customers search for. So if you've got a low ad budget, you want to make sure that you're taking that budget that you have and you're allocating it very targeted to just a few keywords. Okay, the mistake people make with a low ad budget is they'll do something like run an auto campaign. And an automatic targeting campaign on Amazon is just going to do a lot of testing, and it's going to burn through your budget. And you may get sales, which is great, but it's not going to give you any velocity on these keywords. So if you can spend the majority of your budget, what we always recommend, if you've got a low ad budget, you need to pick 5 to 10 keywords and put all of your budget on exact matches in a manual campaign until those products rank high for those keywords. And then you're generating a lot of organic sales. And then, of course, now that you've got more traction and more revenue coming in, you may not be in a low ad budget situation anymore. So that's really important. The other thing that you can do is utilize day parting. Day parting, Chris, I want you to go into the Sellozo app. So we're going to go back and forth. We're going to show you how Sellozo can do these things for you. Inside Sellozo, we have what's called day parting. Day parting allows you to tell when you want the ads to be on and off during the day. So you can see this particular campaign, this client of ours has their ads turning on at 9 a.m. and going off at 10 p.m. This can save your budget big time, especially when it's limited. I'm sure anyone who's out there who has limited budget has seen their campaigns run out of budget at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and now you're not showing for the rest of the day. So you can actually use a tool like day parting, which is very easy to set up inside Sellozo, to allocate the limited budget you have to a better converting time of day. Another thing to think about with day parting as well is every campaign on Amazon, and at least in the United States, resets at 12:01 a.m. Pacific time. So it's the most competitive time to be advertising. Everybody's budget, whether they've run out the day before at 12:01, everyone's live again, unless you're doing some sort of day parting. So the cost per clicks do decrease over the day. So with a limited budget, again, you could be getting a better bang for your buck later on in the day rather than in the early morning. So that's our recommendation on a low ad budget, and we just touched on, what you definitely do not want to do is do a whole lot of testing on a bunch of keywords. You don't want to really be running auto campaigns because it's just going to burn your budget. And if you don't have enough, auto campaigns and all that testing is great if you can do it. But if you have a low ad budget, it's just going to burn your money and not give you the velocity you need.
Yeah, some things to touch on there, and you hit on a lot of good stuff there. The first one I'm gonna go on is the day parting option. So inside Sellozo, what you can do is clone campaigns, and you can do this in Seller Central, but it's a lot easier in Sellozo where you clone campaigns. And what you can do is set times for each part of those campaigns, set them differently. So your first campaign is going to be like midnight to 6 a.m. The second campaign is going to be 7 a.m. to like 3 p.m. And then the last campaign is going to be 4 p.m. to 12 p.m. And what you're doing, or 11 p.m., what you're doing is you're trying to figure out when your ad or when your products convert the best at what time, and let that run for a couple of weeks. And then what you could do is take that data, that whether it be conversions or a low A cost, whatever you're going after, you can take that time and then use that to scale up your other campaigns. So now you know that, man, my product performs the best during this time. We've done this with a mattress company, and we've mentioned this a few on the podcast before, but the mattress company sells mattresses at night. People are buying mattresses during the evening. So what they're doing is they're saving their budget for later in the day, early evening, when people are looking to buy a mattress so that they convert the highest during that time frame. You can do that in Sellozo. The other thing I want to touch on is keywords. So it's super, super important to know your keywords and know what keywords you're going after. You can find your keywords just by using the Amazon search bar. Like, go to Amazon, type your main keyword in. They're going to give you suggestions on which keywords that customers are typing in. So you can use those search terms, and Amazon's going to give you the data. Find the best 5 or 10, or there's other tools out there that can kind of help you with this that you want to, very, very narrow in on, because you want to rank for those in the long run, and you're going to rank for those by using your Amazon PPC. Good stuff, Dustin.
Yep.
Let's go on to the next one.
Before you move on, well, you can scroll down. We can go to the tips part. But one thing to mention also with the low ad budget is if you go after the most competitive keyword, we'll use the example we use a lot, dog leash. If you're selling a dog leash and you've got a low budget, the term dog leash might not be one of the 5 to 10 search terms you want to use, because it's going to be ultra competitive. You might want to veer off that main search term and go with some longer tail keyword ones to rank on, because they'll be less expensive. You'll have the ability to rank. To get to page 1 on dog leash is going to be expensive, even if you're just bidding on dog leash. But if you're doing something like dog leashes for small dogs, if that's what you have, is a dog leash that's for small dogs, and you focus your budget on that, you'll be able to rank faster, generate more organic sales, and then take that money and then parlay it into advertising on dog leash later. So that's really important.
Yeah, and you can see on my screen here, we're kind of showing the Amazon search bar, and I got an extension added to kind of show me some more keywords. It's called Amazon Suggestion Expander. It's a free download. You can download it and add it to Chrome, but it'll give you like good keywords that are long tail keywords and things that you may want to add to your ad. Again, it's called Amazon AMZ Suggestion Expander. And it kind of expands out all the search terms. So it's not just limited to just what Amazon shows you. But this is where you're going to find keywords. Super easy. Another secret tool that I usually show sellers. We're not affiliated at all with this tool, but it's a tool I use. It's called Kinwords Dog Leash. It's free to use. You just got to create an account. But what it's basically going to do is going to show you which keywords have a high kin score. So the kin score is like relative, what's relative to that product. And they got some good videos over here. This is a free tool to use. Again, it's called kinwords.com. I would definitely go check this out. It's super easy. The guy who created this is very, very smart. And the data is very, very accurate. So you can also use this as a way to get some good keywords. Cool. Let's go on to some other tips here. Oh, this is a good one. Add top of search multiplier. Dustin, what is this?
Yeah. So if we're talking again about having a lower ad budget, and now we've focused on just like 5 to 10 keywords in an exact match only. And now you want to also, since you're focusing all your budget on there, you can add a top of search multiplier. So when you're setting up the campaign, you can put, you can go up to like 900% of whatever your bid is. Inside Sellozo, you can set this percentage really easily as well for these campaigns. But if you put a top of search multiplier there, Amazon will increase your bid up to whatever percentage you've said to get you at the top of the page for that search. So since you're focusing directly on just a few keywords, you want to make sure you're showing up for those. So that way you can speed up how quickly you rank there, and you show at the top of the page so you can get the clicks. So yeah, I do this all the time when I'm operating with a lower budget. We'll also talk about this as something you would do for sure when you're doing a product launch.
Yeah, and this is a good thing just to do on just in general, like add a 10 or 20%. It doesn't have to be all the way up there. It can be just a 10 or 20% for top of search, because what you're going to do is you're kind of forcing Amazon to show your product at the top of the search where the conversion rates are a little bit higher instead of product page. So this can be found in your campaign settings. You can add a little multiplier in there. I would always do like at least a 10 or 15% just in general, just my personal opinion. Because you want to make sure your keywords are showing up or your product is showing up at the top of those search results instead of being on product page. Another thing, reverse ASIN search. This is a term many people should know. If you don't, what you're basically doing is you're taking a competitor, you're taking a competitor's ASIN, and there's tools out there where you can kind of see where they're already ranking for. What keywords are they ranking for? And then you could target those keywords in your campaigns and kind of find some good keyword discovery. It's a good way to find long tail search terms in general, right? What'd you say, Dustin?
Oh yeah. I mean, you want to make sure, like we're still talking about low ad budget strategies, and you want to make sure that you're picking the best keywords for your situation to rank on. And whatever your competitors are ranking on, those are good. Those are what you potentially want to do it. We have a quick question here from Leonard. It said, some people say go all in 300, 400% on that top of search multiplier with low bids. Is this a good idea, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as long as the bid doesn't get, if you start with like a low bid of like 50 cents, $1, something like that, you could test that out. I've heard of even people doing like 50 cents with a 900 plus multiplier and just leaving that alone. If you're using a tool or you're using using Sellozo to optimize your bids, that will counteract. So like, just be careful, because we're going to adjust your bids as well on top of that multiplier that you have set at the campaign level. So that can kind of make your cost per clicks really skyrocket. But it's probably not a bad idea for product launches, because what you're trying to do at product launch, you want to get a lot of traffic, clicks, sales. Let's start ranking for keywords. So I would make, Leonard, to answer your question, I would probably do a separate campaign for just top of search multiplier keywords only, because that's going to have a different data than like your discovery campaign for all your other keywords. So I would probably separate that out and make that a separate campaign and put a lot of budget focused on that first. Because if you keep them together, there's only going to be like 5 or 10 keywords that are going to eat up all that budget in that campaign. And I would probably get rid of those and put them in a separate campaign.
We have one more question about Sellozo's auto solution asking if it doesn't manage top of search placement bids. It does manage top of search placement bids, which Chris can show you. And we'll dive in a little bit more. So when you're setting up your campaigns, you can add the top of search and top of product placement percentages there. So yeah, absolutely, you can do that. We do this all the time. And I think to explain this even further is whatever life cycle stage you are in the product. So you're either launching a product or you're trying to re-energize a product. Maybe it's been slipping. That's when you're going to be using these multipliers to make sure you go up. But there's also stages where you're trying to make sure your ad spend stays profitable. Okay. And in those cases, when our tool adjusts the bids every day based on your target ACoS, it's going to do that based on the ACoS and the current bid. And so you might not want a multiplier interfering with that.
Let's keep going here. Daniel, I see your question. Let's keep rolling here. We'll be answering questions all day. Let's get to these. Daniel, we'll see you. Large ad budget. Let's get into this one, Dustin. What do you got here?
Yeah. So if you've got a large ad budget, you can do a lot more. There's a lot of offerings that Amazon has out there. And a large ad budget allows you to do a lot of testing, allows you to test on lots of keywords, lots of different ad types. So the larger your budget gets, you obviously want to start with sponsored product, but the larger your budget gets, then you can start expanding into sponsored brand video, which is killing it right now, sponsored display. And then you have the ability to do a lot of different combinations of these campaigns, which we can dive into a little bit, but you have the ability to do defensive campaigns where you can just have your products show up on all your other product pages. You can eliminate the ability for your competitors to advertise on your product listings. You can have your sponsored brand and sponsored brand video showing up everywhere. You can do a lot of category targeting. There's so many things that you can do with a larger ad budget. All of that means there's going to be a lot more testing going on. That's what the large ad budget allows you to do, is allows you to get a ton of data really quickly from Amazon. And then you got to do something with that data. So if you have a large ad budget and you're setting these things up, you've got to be optimizing all the time on these campaigns so that you're reining in that ad spend is controlled, and you're not wasting it after that testing has come in. The other thing that you want to watch out for with a large ad budget is when you have all these campaigns set up, you want to make sure you're naming them accurately. We talk to a lot of people that come in, they'll connect with Sellozo, and we'll see they'll have all these campaigns with their names all over the place. It's hard the more you get, the more you want to make sure that that's easy for you to understand.
Yeah, and this is where we kind of put this in order. Sponsored product, this is where I would probably focus on at the very beginning. Sponsored product ads. When you click on an ad, the keyword or the search term that you typed in is going to be in the URL. So it's going to help rank your product faster for the terms you're going after. So I would probably focus solely on sponsored product at the very beginning. And then if you want to transition a little bit and add some sponsored brand, and especially sponsored brand video, like you just mentioned, Dustin, those are awesome. So you could use all these in conjunction. I would start with product and then go to brand and then go to display, just like the order we got here. And then to add to your point on the names, yeah, you're going to have a lot of campaigns. And if you don't know what you're doing here with these naming campaigns, it can be kind of confusing. So, definitely when you're doing a sponsored brand ad, maybe put SB in front of the campaign name, or SD for sponsored display, or SP for sponsored product. That way you know what type of campaign that is. And if it's a discovery campaign, meaning you're going to test out a lot of different match types, broad, phrase, and exact, add the word discovery so you know that this is a discovery campaign for all my keywords. If it's only your top 5 keywords, add top 5 KW for like top 5 keywords. That way, it's only my top 5 keywords that I'm focusing on. So use the name so you kind of know what your campaign's about, so you don't have to keep clicking it in and trying to figure out what it is.
Absolutely. All right, let's scroll on down here, Chris, and then we can. All right, why don't let's talk about this, but then we can go into the Sellozo app and we can show you how with these thorough campaign structures that you can set up. Like we're talking about, we'll show you how easy it is to automate that inside of Sellozo. Because one thing that you can do is you can use all the match types. Like for product, for sponsored product, you want to make sure that you're using, if you're doing the large ad budget, broad, phrase, exact match, and an auto. Why don't you go in real quick into the Campaign Studio, Chris, and let's show everybody. Campaign Studio inside Sellozo allows you to connect campaigns and define a keyword transfer rule. So right here, what Chris did is Chris connected an auto campaign to a manual campaign. Okay. And what you can do with that link rule is define what happens with that transfer. So in this case right here, anytime that search term converts one time out of the auto campaign, it's creating an exact match in that destination campaign. Now, the next day, it'll negative exact match that out of the auto as well. And then, of course, if you have our optimizer on for these campaigns, it's going to be adjusting the bids based on a target ACoS. But I wanted to show you, Chris, why don't you build the auto to broad to phrase to exact flow here? Because what we're going to be talking about with a large ads budget is you can do a lot of keyword testing. And this it can be automated through here right now. So in this scenario, what Chris has set up is you've got an auto campaign that will now link and create a broad match in that first manual campaign. And then we can set it, the second one, anything that converts off the broad, it can make a phrase. And then it's going down to the next one, anything that converts off the phrase, it makes an exact match. So this allows you to optimize the entire time you're testing. So typically, if you're doing this by hand, you're letting an auto campaign run for a couple weeks, downloading the search term report, and then pulling out the search terms that have worked. But what you can do if you do this will automate that process, and it'll do it daily. So if something converts today, it'll automatically make it a broad, and then it'll immediately start adjusting the bids on those broads matches. And then the same thing, it'll convert, make it a phrase. So this, if you're going to use a large ad budget and you're going to do a lot of testing, automation is critical. This is going to allow you to just set this campaign structure up and allow for all that testing. And every day, these campaigns are going to be optimized. So you're getting rid of wasted spend as you go. All right, Chris, why don't you touch on some more of those tips now?
Yeah, so these are some of the things that Dustin and I have been playing around with and that we're testing in our own accounts. And some of these are some things that you could do now and that we're seeing really good success with, and probably some things I would do for 2021 and things that I would probably focus on. So the first one is single keyword campaigns. This has been talked about numerous other places. People are talking about this now. It's a single keyword campaign. What this is it's a single keyword, single ASIN, single product, single match type. So you have one product, you have one match type, broad, phrase, or exact. You have one ad group, and you have one keyword you're going after. What that does is it just kind of forces Amazon to show that you're only willing to spend on this particular keyword. I want to show up for dog brush. That's what I'm selling. So dog brush is going to be my broad match. I'm going to put dog brush as a phrase match. I'm going to put dog brush as an exact match. But those are going to be 3 separate campaigns with 3 different budgets, or they could be the same. And then I'm going to let those run, and that just forces Amazon to show up for all those different variations within those match types. So single keyword campain.
So Chris,
I like those a lot.
Chris, before you go on, let's touch on that. That's not necessary for everything. That single keyword campaign, just like we can talk about some different use cases. You'll see a lot of times where, like, if you're trying to rank, like we're talking about, and you want to control the budget on that keyword, so it's allocated, that's great. A lot of times you'll see campaigns that you have where one keyword is eating up the majority of the budget. That's a great time to get that out of that campaign as well and have its own campaign. So there's a lot of budget. So it's not something you need to do all the time, but that's a great strategy in certain use cases for sure.
Yeah, you'll get a lot of campaigns out of this. There'll be, depending on how many keywords you're going after, there's going to be a lot of keywords after this. And some people have already seen this out there, but a lot of sellers will dump like hundreds of keywords in one campaign, or they'll put thousands of keywords in one campaign, and it just kind of limits that campaign and its performance.
For sure.
So definitely want to like separate those out. You can either use like a search term estimation to kind of separate those out, or I would just put one keyword, one campaign, one ASIN, one match type, and go from there. The other one is A/B test your video ads. So video ads, if you don't have access to video ads, you need to get it, because video ads are performing like crazy. The conversion rates are super high, but you definitely want to get access to video ads, and then you can A/B test the creative. So some sellers are starting out with like just slides, like just like a slideshow of their product, and then they're getting a video created in the background, and then when that video is ready, they can create another ad and just use it with that new video they created. So you could find videographers out there on Fiverr or Upwork or FreeUp. There's other places you can get. You can outsource this, but I would definitely get video ads. Either have somebody create one for you, or use the slideshow as just a starting point and get a video created in the background, because you're going to want to do that when you get access to it. The other one is the sponsored brand creative. So there's things in sponsored brand ads now where you can do like storefronts or images, custom images. Just test those out, because you're going to see which one converts better. Some people may want to see like a lifestyle photo, or you may want to show a product image in that image or in that ad. So definitely want to just test these out, run them for a few weeks, see which one performs the best, and then scale up the one that does well. Cross promote, Dustin. What do you got here on this one?
Yeah, so cross promoting, this is another way you can do. It's also what I would call sort of a defensive strategy. You can put your other products that you have, other products in your product lines, you can put those ASINs in a campaign for one of your own products. That way, when they go to the listing, any shopper goes to listing and they scroll down to where it says sponsored products related to this item, it's going to be all your other products. So you're defending your listing. So anytime someone goes to your listing, you can also do this with sponsored display, but you can have on your listing just all of your own products. So it's a great way. These are on those, you can actually bid kind of high to keep everybody else out because it's going to be clicking directly on your product from your listing. So those are great ways to keep competitors off of your listing to prevent you from advertising. So that's great. And then of course the discovery campaigns with broad phrase and match. That's exactly what we were talking about before. That's where you want to lay out. You don't have to do like we were talking about auto to broad to phrase to exact. A lot of times I'll set one up where it's just auto to broad to exact. I'll skip out on the phrase, but that just allows you to optimize and find more keywords. One thing that you heard Chris say on every single one of these, and we're talking about large ad budgets, is you heard the word test over and over and over again. That's the difference between having a larger ad budget and a smaller one. Is you're going to have a lot of spend on testing, which means you have to optimize constantly. Because when you're testing stuff, you don't want to test it indefinitely. You want to test it, and if it works, it keeps going, and if it doesn't, you shut it off. And that's where when you set up those patterns in Campaign Studio, like Chris and I were talking about, our tool will automate that entire process for you. You just have to decide how thorough of a testing pattern you want to set up, and it makes it super easy. All right. Let's just go ahead and do product launch. This is, we talk to a lot of sellers that do product launches. And of course, Chris and I launch products all the time. There's so many variables inside of a product launch that can be tough. You have to know your category, the competitiveness of your category, your keywords that you really want to hammer on, how long you think it's going to take to rank organically, and your ability to choose, can you do a lot of thorough testing, or do we need to focus on a few keywords? And so we're going to implement a lot of the things we talked about, like top of search. I mean, you're trying to launch, so you're trying to get as much of organic ranking as possible, as quickly as possible, so you can generate more revenue. Chris, I'll let you talk about the rest of these.
Yeah, you're going to do that top of search, and you're also going to do exact match. You want to focus on the exact keywords that you want to go after, especially on a limited budget. Now, if you have more to spend, by all means, you can test out the other match types. But especially at the very beginning, I would do just an exact match on my 5 to 10 keywords that I want to focus on. We say no auto campaign here. That's debatable. But what we see with auto campaigns is high ACoS, a lot of spend. But it is good for discovery. But if you've done your keyword research the right way and you know your niche and you know the category, you should be able to target all the main search terms that customers are typing in. Mm-hmm. So that's why we say kind of no auto campaign there. And then defensive campaigns. As you launch new products, you're going to have existing products already. Hopefully, if you're doing it in a brand way where you're launching a brand and there's a lot of products within that brand, you can target defensive campaigns, like add your products to your other product detail pages, try to generate some sales, create bundles. You can now create bundles inside Seller Central where you can bundle products together, do lightning deals. All this stuff is just things to help out with product launch. But for the ad side, top of search, exact match, 5 to 10 keywords in one campaign, and focus on that to get rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing to touch on is during a product launch, your conversion rate could be low because you don't have reviews, a lot of other factors. So that's why not running auto campaigns sometimes is really smart I mean, you do not want to be throwing money at a listing that's going to be difficult to convert, but it might convert a whole lot better on very targeted keywords because it's exactly what they're searching for. And so that once you start generating reviews, generating organic rank, that's when you start expanding off of that simple 5 to 10 keyword exact match campaign, and you grow from there.
Yeah, some of these here, like this, use Amazon suggested bid as a guide. So Amazon's going to give you a suggested bid. Add like 20% to that suggested bid, and then wait 5 to 8 days before you make any changes, meaning before you make any bid adjustments. See if you get impressions, see if you get in clicks. If you're not getting any clicks or impressions, your bid's too low, or you may not be indexed for that keyword. You may want to check that as well. But you want to raise your bid again, and just constantly raise that bid until you start to get impressions and clicks and start to see some conversions. And then track your keywords. There's keyword tracker tools out there. Track your keywords, see where you rank at. Make sure that what you're spending money on in your ads is actually paying off, because you want to get to that page one, and you want to get to the top of search for your keywords to try to get some organic sales. So Amazon sees you're spending on ads, but you're also getting organic sales. That's going to help you stick that ranking. So track your keywords, use the suggested bid as a guide, but always add like a multiplier to that to increase that bid a little bit more. And then again, focus on the 5 to 10 keywords that you want to go after.
Absolutely. Chris, why don't you go real quick into the campaign manager inside Sellozo, and let's talk about, so we'll go to our PP. If one thing that you do, if you're in a product launch, okay, you would want to go into pick one of those campaigns, Chris, and let's talk about the target ACoS. What you'd want to do when you turn the optimizer on inside Sellozo, let's say you've got a campaign with 5 to 10 keywords, that target ACoS number at the right, far right there, this is what you would enter. You're telling our optimizer what ACoS you'd like to get to. In a product launch, you would want to set that for the 5 to 10 keywords really high. It can be way higher than 50, 200, 100%, 150%. That's reasonable for a product launch. And that way our tool is increasing the bids every day if it's not generating sales, or if it's not reached that ACoS yet, which will ensure that you get to the top of the page as well with those bids. So that's really important. Then you can of course have the multiplier on top of that to ensure that, but of course you could, take that off as necessary as the launch rolls. But that's the way that I launch products is I put 5 to 10 products in, or 5 to 10 keywords into a manual campaign, exact match them, set a high target ACoS, add the multiplier, and let it run. And that way you're using our tool to make sure, because even if you set a bid in there, it might be a high bid, but it may still not be showing as much as you want. So that's really, really important for your ability to do that. All right, let's talk about this is an immediate win. It doesn't matter what stage you're in. It doesn't matter how many products you have. It doesn't matter anything. Everybody should have a low bid catch-all campaign set up. We'll talk about this. This is that if you come on as like a managed client of Sellozo, that's the first thing our team does. Day one, they make a low bid catch-all campaign. And Chris and I, we'll talk to people. We'll tell them to do this because you don't really need to optimize this. We'll tell them to do it. And then we'll get a call a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks later saying, hey, we made so much money off the low bid catch-all campaign. We can sign up for Sellozo, no problem. What a low bid catch-all campaign is it's an automatic targeting campaign with every product that you have thrown in there, and you set the bid ultra low, 5 cents, 10 cents, something like that, something really low, and then you don't touch it. It's amazing. They always work. You get clicks on random keywords, super long tail keywords. Different situations happen. Maybe your competitors' ads, they run out of budget, and all of a sudden this keyword is now super cheap. If you leave these running, you're just going to catch all these opportunities as they come, and they're always successful. I mean, I always see an ACoS of like 4%, 5% all the time. Yeah. I mean, it's an immediate win. If you don't have a low bid catch all, so we have a question about that. Would you suggest keeping it out of the optimizer or put it on the optimizer? We actually see both. So a lot of times I don't turn the optimizer on for that. I just want to let it go. But then we have a lot of our managed accounts. They've found success by turning the optimizer on, just setting a low, super low target ACoS, like 5%, 6% target ACoS. And so you can certainly test those out. But the catch-all campaign is an absolute win, guaranteed.
Yeah, and it works really good for, if you got a lot of SKUs, got a lot of products, or your clients have a lot of products. So it works really good for those. So this is something, definitely an easy victory. Just set it, forget it, and you'll see sales trickle in. We do this with all of our onboarding calls. We tell them, you got to do this campaign. You'll get sales in the long run. So it's just a super easy one.
Yeah. And we're going to get to some of these other questions we can get to here in a second. Let's see where we, so let's just pull up this slide here. So we can talk a little bit more about Sellozo, but some of these questions touch on it. So let's ask it. Chris, can you rename?
Let's go through these.
Yeah. Can you rename an ad once it's been running for a while, Chris?
Yeah, you can rename an ad. You can rename the name. You can rename the campaign name inside Seller Central.
Can I connect the manual campaign I already created in my ads console with the auto campaign I create in Sellozo? Will it pause? You can absolutely connect any campaigns. You can create new campaigns, and you connect campaigns that you've had in the past. Very easily, you can connect those inside the app. Will it pause all other campaign that I had before? Our optimizer is not going to run for anything unless you tell it to run for it. So yeah, it's fine. But yeah, if you have historical campaigns are great. When you turn the optimizer on, it's got, at least after you connect, it's going to have at least 60 days worth of data that it can go through. So that's always helpful.
Does Sellozo have a limit of the amount of SKUs? Does it work with accounts with 25,000 plus SKUs? Yes.
Unlimited. Yeah.
Unlimited. It will work.
That account we were just looking at that we were demoing has way more than that. So let's see. Are you sending us the handout? Yes, we'll send these slides out. All right. How do you use lifestyle and product images based on sponsored brand creative? Has Amazon done away with the idea that you're supposed to use your company logo? Chris, want to touch on that?
Yeah. So I've used like a lifestyle photo as the logo, and just keep submitting it, and it's gone through. It's been approved. So you don't have to use. I mean, they might reject it, but you could try using the lifestyle image as the image for that ad, and if they reject it, just change it to the logo. But I would try it. I would just keep testing it until they reject it.
Yeah, good point. Is there any way to measure your ad rank in sponsored products or using third-party tools you know of? Well, there's lots of third-party tools that do this.
Yeah, there are. They track both organic and sponsored placement.
So you can use those. Did the optimizer on the catch-all? Let's see. Is the low bid catch-all campaign based on keywords or sponsored products or all above? It's an automatic targeting campaign that's sponsored product. So it's basically gonna show for any search term that Amazon, you win the bid at a low bid for that auction. So you'll just run. It's so simple. Turn on the automatic targeting campaign, set a low bid, and put all your products in it, and then don't touch it. It'll work. Do you typically create this while bidding on the low bid catch-all campaign? Do you typically create this while bidding on just one match type or all three? It's just an auto campaign, so you don't even have to worry about match types. But now, that being said, like, I run a low bid catch-all campaign for all of my products, regardless. And then for each individual product, I've got my larger strategic campaign set. So whether I'm doing auto to exact or et cetera, the low bid catch-all is just, I mean, I call it bottom feeding for keyword. I mean, just getting these cheap keywords, and you don't even have to do anything to optimize it. Can we get the webinar recording? Yeah, there'll be a recording of this. It'll be, we'll talk to our marketing team after this, but it'll be everywhere. It'll be on our, just so you know, if you go to Sellozo's page on Facebook, so go to Facebook and type in Sellozo, you can like that page. Chris and I run a podcast that we do a daily episode. It's called Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone. We live stream it on that Facebook page, so you'll be able to see it every time it comes live. This video will be probably replayed there. Potentially we'll send a link as well and a follow-up email when we get the slides out to you as well. So yeah, so definitely check that out, and go ahead and Chris and I do live videos every day. So you can find us on YouTube or on the Facebook page, or you can check out our podcast, Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone, everywhere that you can find podcasts. So you can see that as well. All right, let's see. Next question. Is there any advantage to using phrase match if you're already using broad match for the same turn? Meaning, am I missing anything by skipping the phrase match? There's
test. You got to test, right? Like you got to test. But I have seen broad match, acting a little bit better and catching all those phrase matches. But yeah, this is where you test them all out, test different match types. I used to just do broad and then exact and skip phrase. I've seen people do that, but I would test all three out just to kind of cover your bases.
Yeah. Yeah. What is the daily?
I like this one.
What is that? The daily budget for the catch-all?
Yeah. What is the daily budget for the catch-all? You want to touch on that?
Yeah. As much as you want to put in there.
$1,000 or more. So here's the catch. Like you're never going to spend that daily budget, right? Because your bid is so low. Mm-hmm. So if your bid is low, you're never going to spend whatever that budget is. There's some belief out there. I have no way of proving it. Dustin, I don't have any proof. There's some belief out there that Amazon looks at your budget when they determine like who's going to win the placement. So if you have a higher budget than myself, and I'm bidding on the same keyword, it would be in Amazon's best interest to let you win it because you got a higher budget. So I would start with the high budget, but make sure your bid is low because you don't want to spend it all. You just want to show that you're willing to spend that much.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, let's keep going here. What would you consider a large monthly ad budget? It completely depends. Like Chris said, sometimes if you have a niche product that has low search volume keywords, you could put a huge budget on there and it'll never spend because there's not enough traffic to even drive it to there. Conversely, if you are selling in an ultra competitive niche with a really popular product and you're trying to advertise on keywords that have, thousands and thousands of searches a day, you may not be able to have an ad budget large enough to show the whole day. So, there's so many factors. If you are optimizing your campaigns efficiently and you're running out of budget, then it's too low. I don't know how else to say that. Anything you want to add on that, Chris?
No, you covered it pretty well.
Let's see this one.
Go ahead.
Do you add negative keywords to exclude phrase from broad, exact from phrase? Chris.
Do you add them? You can. Yeah, you can definitely do that. Sellozo will automate this.
Yeah.
You can add the negative keywords, but I would only wait till after a conversion, after it converts in the previous campaign. And so you don't cut something off, but yeah, you can create negatives. Another strategy is just lower the bid, keep the bid low. That way you just have an active bid still. But yeah, you can do that, and we automate that.
Yeah, exactly. When you set up those patterns, like Chris said, it's going to exact match the negative in the parent, wherever that campaign, where it came from, where it moved, it'll make a negative exact in there automatically for you after a conversion. Let's see. Will you talk a bit about campaign structure, how you are leveraging placements if you have multiple ad groups and keywords under the same campaign? Are you segmenting by shopper intent or something else? Chris?
Robert, tough question. Sounds like we need to get you on a one-on-one because your questions are very thorough. I would probably, and this may not even answer your question, but I would probably separate them out, my placements by campaign and not ad group. So I would put, the keywords I'm going after in a top of search campaign by themselves. But yeah, sounds like we need to get you on a one-on-one.
Yeah. Very thorough question. Is there a way to optimize a broad match campaign without Sellozo turning the search conversions into exact matches?
Is there a way to optimize a broad match campaign without Sellozo turning? Yeah, you would just delete the link, and it would just be broad campaigns only, and we wouldn't create exact match keywords. We would
Correct.
just optimize those keywords as broad match. So yeah, you can definitely do that. With catch-all campaigns, would you recommend using fixed bids with those low bids, or utilize dynamic bid strategy within AC counts?
No, I would just do dynamic down.
Yeah, I just do that dynamic down.
Yeah, definitely don't put any multipliers or something on that low bid catch-all campaign, or do dynamic.
Yeah, that's just a standard. All my products, standard bid of like 5 cents, high budget, just to show Amazon you're willing to spend that. You will never spend that. If you do spend that, because you sold a lot, and just let it run.
Will Sellozo have rules where if the budget runs out, it can increase a certain percentage if it's at a certain ACOS? No, but it's going to tell. We have a field where it shows you where we recommend increasing the ad budget. So on the dashboard, if you scroll down, it'll show where campaigns. You could go to that tab and it'll show the campaigns that the tool is recommending to increase your budget.
Good question.
Yeah, great question. Should you optimize a defensive campaign? I mean, I think for the most part, you should optimize any campaign. You just want to set this potentially higher, like a higher target ACOS. So that, I mean, that way it's gonna rein in anything that's really out of control. I mean, obviously there's a certain level where if you have a defensive campaign and it's just spending way too much and your ACOS is way high, can't control it. So I would optimize it. I would just set my target ACOS higher than a normal campaign. Let's see.
Keep the questions coming. These are good.
These are good. Does Sellozo adjust bids on previous day data weekly or 30 days? This is a great question. So our algorithm is a weighted algorithm of all historical data to make the bid adjustments. So it's weighting more recent data, obviously a little heavier than past data, but it is excluding the previous day's data, I believe. Chris, you want to touch more on that?
Yeah, it's a combination. So the algorithm combines all of those past data points and then makes the bid adjustment. What's really nice is we track all of this inside the app. So inside the app, you'll be able to see all the activity from the previous day. You'll be able to see all the bid adjustments. You'll be able to see when it makes a negative keyword. You'll be able to see when it transfers a keyword from one campaign to campaign. So all that will be covered. And just to throw this out there, we do a one-on-one onboarding call with all new accounts during the trial. So like there's a free trial. There's also a free onboarding call. So some of these questions, we can actually go through your data with you on Sellozo and show you where this is all at with your own account. So this happens during your trial.
And let's touch on that real quick again, because I know we're getting closer to the end of the hour here. But yes, right now you can see here on this slide, we have a special discount code. Webinar 20 will get you 20% off your first month at Sellozo on top of that 14-day free trial. There is no contracts, nothing. I mean, you can cancel or upgrade at any time. And it's a flat monthly fee. So you're not going to have any percentage of ad spend or any of that. So you can use that code webinar 20, get the 14-day free trial. The onboarding call will be with either Chris or myself. So you're going to get one of us, and it'll be 30 minutes where we can talk about any strategies you want. And we'll actually help you, like with your first campaign, if you want to connect an auto to a manual or multiple, we'll walk you through that so that you know that you're clicking the right buttons, setting things up. It's very intuitive anyway, but yeah, we'd love to see it. So you can go to sellozo.com right now, sign up, or you can book a demo with us and we can talk more as well. And use that code. So we got a few more minutes. Let's touch on these last couple of questions here. Running similar sponsored product campaign I run in the US and in Australia with little, if any, traffic. Any recommendations? there could be,
Competition, lack of demand, maybe
yeah,
different marketplace.
there could be
Uh,
lots of reasons. Yeah. If you are raising your bids and you're still getting little traffic, that the demand may not be there yet. I mean, the other marketplaces are not as robust as the U.S. Australia for sure, not yet. There's not all of Australia is not shopping on Amazon like they do in the United States yet. So yeah, if you're not able to do that, then there's some issue with the traffic. Just
where
not.
do I find the reverse ASIN search? This is a tool. These are going to be tools that other or features that other tools have. Helium 10 has one. Jungle Scout has one. These are common names in the industry. You should definitely check one of those out. They have reverse ASIN searches. You can
Mhm.
Google reverse ASIN search. Google is your friend, so you'll be able to find that right there, Don. Other than bidding on your own ASIN, is there any other defensive strategy you suggest?
Um, I mean, that is what you're defending, is that product listing from your competitors to be on there. The other thing people do is they bid really high on their brand name. So that's another defensive search. So you could do a sponsored product, and you could do sponsored brand, where you're bidding on your brand name and setting it really high. So a lot of your competitors are putting your brand name in their campaigns. So sometimes, like if your brand is brand XYZ and you search it, you're going to see 4 sponsored spots with your competitors, and then you're going to see your organic rankings. And so there's a lot of, I'd say, conflicting opinions on this. Some people say, why would I ever bid and advertise on my brand name when I'm already the #1 organically ranked product? And others say, why would I want 4 strangers on top of me in the listing that I can prevent? And so they'll do that. So that is another one. That's a classic defensive strategy of like defending your brand name as well. So you can defend your brand name on searches, and you can defend your listing with product targeting. All right, those are great questions, everybody. So anyway, we'll wrap this up. Yes, our marketing team will get this all sent out to you. I'm not sure the time frame, but you will get an email with this and a link to the video replay as well. Thanks so much for jumping on. Did we just? Oh, Chris unshared his screen. So I thought everybody disappeared there for a second. Yeah, and like I said, we'd love, if you would like to see just daily content, please go to our check out our podcast, To Amazon Sellers and a Microphone. We bring on guests all over the industry. We have amazing guests. We have an amazing guest tonight at 4:00 East Central Time, who's going to be great on our podcast. So check that out. There's tons of good information there. And yeah, go to the website, use that discount code webinar20 and get 20% off. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.